on on this issue. I think this is a fairy tale.
Good morning, BD. How you doing, man? Thank you for the response to the comment, and I look forward to discussing this with you. We've had some real good conversations on the phone in the past about these subjects, but we've never really had an opportunity to talk about these things on your channel, just you and me. So I look forward to talking about these subjects with you in front of your audience. And mine. So I'll just go point by point, man. First thing is, you misunderstood what my comment was trying to say, and that's not your fault or mine, really. TikTok has this thing where they only allow a certain number of characters in a comment, so you got to try to fit your message into 3 sentences or whatever. And being that you and me have had those 3+ hour conversations on the phone regarding these subjects, I thought that you would know what I was getting at, and like I said, it's not your fault. I looked at the comment and it did seem like it was saying what you interpreted as. But what I believe is not that anybody subject to protocol should, get a say in what that protocol will be. No. I believe that it should be just like any other club or coalition or organization. You're looking at the rules and you sign up for them. You know what it's going to be and you actively sign up. I do not believe that simply putting on a patch and riding in a group makes you subject to other people's unwritten rules. Okay? They're not even written. There's not even anywhere, and that was the whole point of the video you made, which is I was kind of backing what you were saying, is the idea that per your call, right? And if it's not written, it's always going to be per your call. Because what are we supposed to do? Just take you on your word for it? Go coalition to coalition? I mean, I understand that for some people that's possible, but for the most part, you're going to be just having to take people's word for it, right? So I think the idea of an unwritten system is wide open for problems because people can make shit up as they go along. That's what your video was about. You got some people saying 10 years, some people saying 5 years. That's the problem with it not being written down. And the reason it's not written down is because it's completely illegal. It's a fucking RICO predicate crime, to say this is our area, this is our territory, this is my organization's territory, do what we say or we're going to hurt you or worse. Okay? That's as illegal as it gets. It's a RICO, it's grounds to do a RICO, whatever. Right? So that's why it's not written down. And the fact that it's not written down leaves it wide open for mutiny and people making shit up as they go, etc., etc. So, yes, it should be written down. All right. And that's what I was saying is you should have the opportunity to sign up for it. But if you're not signing up for it and you just want to be left the hell alone, that should not give other clubs cause, to threaten you and push up on you and tell you what you are and are not going to do. And the thing about it is, it would be one thing if those clubs that do that were only affecting themselves or the individuals doing it. It would be one thing if those guys were just like, we don't give a fuck about jail. We'll go to jail. We're not scared. And, you're going to do what we say or we're going to hurt you. And if not, then we'll do what we got to do. And if we get caught, we'll go to jail. We don't care. That would be one thing. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is the culture at large is taking major hits because of this so-called system. It's interesting. You guys that have these biker news channels and these MC channels, some days you talk about the holes in this so-called system and we end up saying damn near the same thing. You make these videos, video after video after video after video of this club shot this club, this club shot this club, this club shot this club, day after day after day, this club shot this other club. And in those videos, you say often That's what's wrong with our culture. Clubs just need to stay out of each other's lane. Clubs need to respect each other. And we're saying pretty much the same thing. You know, that's what this club was built on. That ain't no fairy tale. Freedom ain't no fairy tale, I promise you. The fairy tale is the notion that this system is doing anybody in the culture any good, is doing the culture itself any good at all. That's the fairy tale. Because it's not, man. This system has been so much trouble from day one that now anybody that's a member of a 1% club, or any kind of club for that matter, has the alphabet boys watching over them, and can't travel and can't wear a gun here, can't do this here, can't get a job here. All that has been caused by this system, this territorial, violent driven system. Okay. And that's my problem, is it affects us all, and it just doesn't make any sense. you know Freedom, like I said, freedom is not a fairy tale. I promise you that. This culture was born in rebellion of a tyrannical oppressor, right? You mentioned the AMA. This culture, 1% culture, can't speak for other clubs that, don't prescribe to the way of the 1%er or whatever, but outlaw MC culture, 1%er culture, was born in rebellion of the strict practices of the AMA in large part. Okay. That's why to this day, one of the most well-known 1% clubs wears a mock AMA patch with a middle finger in the middle of it to this day. And they have since who knows when, on the West Coast and in the Midwest. This culture, 1% MC culture, was born in rebellion of the AMA and its practices. Okay. And in the early days, it was in strict contrast with the AMA's strict pull up their ass practices. You know what I mean? That was the whole idea. I promise you, this culture was originally built with the idea of live and let live. George Christie said it himself. He said, a pivotal moment for me was when I realized that we were becoming what we hated the most. We were becoming what we had once rebelled against. He said, when I first joined the club, it was a live and let live attitude. And when money and power get involved, people change, and not always for the better. And he's right, man. The culture, this culture, not the entire culture, but certain clubs have kind of come full circle and become what they once hated the most. It's interesting, man. I was thinking about this the other day. Freedom and being some kind of a freedom fighter was never even on my radar, man. It wasn't even a blip on my radar until certain other clubs, in our early days as a club, tried to oppress us, tried to bully us and control us. And, it just wasn't going to happen. And we became what we are today. They carved out that path for us. And it's interesting because that's how this culture was created. And really, the world over, from Cosa Nostra to the IRA, all of these fraternal, top tier fraternal organizations were born in rebellion of somebody else trying to oppress them, right? So, and it is what it is. The oppressor is going to have to live with that force for the rest of its days. They create a monster. Even within our own world, it has happened time after time. There have been giant clubs trying to control an entire state, and a bunch of smaller clubs will band together and say, no, we're not taking that shit anymore. So the point is, it ain't no fairy tale, I promise you. When you oppress people and you try to control people against their will, they will rise up against you. And, that's what it is. So, it's interesting, man, the whole thing. Ultimately, respect and etiquette is the way it should be. These are universal practices that all can embrace, okay? Respect my freedom, I'll respect yours. This idea of an all-encompassing, unwritten system is a failed idea, in my opinion. It's harmed us far more than it's ever helped us. And if we don't fix it soon, it's going to pass the point of no return. And we're all going to be severely affected. with very negative consequences.